Look, I've been a buyer of legal services as an entrepreneur building companies in the U.S. and as an immigrant going through O1 visa, then a green card, and then becoming a citizen. And every time it was the same thing. It was like you commit to a certain billable hourly rate, and you only know how much you spend about a month after the service was completed. And like that level of uncertainty is a standard in the industry. And then you're chasing your lawyer to get updates on your case over email, and you're left in the dark. And I got very curious about why is that the status quo and why have we accepted that 90% of all legal services is billable hourly rate. And the insight that we had is that one of the main reasons is that 2/3 of lawyers who work at small law firms, which is majority of the market, spend vast majority of their time doing non-legal work. Administrative work, business development, getting clients, running a business. And we realized that we can separate the two. So what ManifestOS does is we help individual exceptional attorneys that have many years of experience launch their new practice from scratch and grow it into a market leader by becoming fully AI native. So the whole law firm is AI native from day one. And we provide them with software, like a full AI native software suite. So attorneys are managing AI agents instead of doing the work themselves. The AI agents are preparing the
So it's kind of like Microsoft Office for lawyers. Or something, like a bunch of tools.
It's tools. It's centralized back office with centralized paralegal, centralized support, centralized accounting, and it's also one unified brand. So in order for
Microsoft Copilot, perhaps for lawyers? No, no, but go ahead. Yeah,
it's much more than that. Yeah,
okay.
You have to have like full software layer where lawyers practice cases and prepare cases, as well as that back office, and as well as a centralized brand.
You're now hiring lawyers to essentially put lawyers out of business?
We are partnering with lawyers and we help them launch their practice from scratch.
But their practice, at the end of the day, like if your mission is to end the billable hour, then there won't be as much of a demand for lawyers, right?
80% of Americans today don't have access to legal representation.
So you're saying it's more of it's
democratization?
Yeah,
I think so.
A supply issue,
and
increasing the supply.
If we look at those different AI use cases that you guys were talking about, in the prior episode, there are great use cases and maybe there are not so great use cases. This is a clear use case where 80% of people who can't afford to hire a lawyer will be able to do so because each lawyer can now process more cases because you can streamline a lot of the inefficiencies in the business itself. So now each lawyer can only focus on doing one thing and one thing only, which is practice of law and helping their client.
So you're saying all the back office, the administrative is really taken care of. It's not about actually, figuring out the case, figuring out the specifics of, let's say, in an immigration law case or something. It's not about that. It's all the other stuff.
Correct. So it's the 2/3 of the time that lawyers spend on non-legal work. And lawyers are focused on doing one thing and one thing only, which is practice of law. We handle everything else. And that level of partnership is really interesting because it unlocks so much productivity that each lawyer can handle more cases and help more people. And also lawyers are happier because they're doing more meaningful work.
Would this work? I mean, your example of the immigration system here in the U.S. and navigating that with an attorney is an example. But what about when it comes to complex business litigation or complex prosecution and defense? Would this tool work for those types of attorneys too?
I would say that AI is more applicable to some practice areas and less applicable to others. Okay. Something that's high stakes, very complex, like multi-$100 million litigation, probably not so much. Something that's, everyday Americans use, like the family law, like immigration law, like employment law. All of those matters. There is a lot of leverage that comes from using technology and unlocking lawyers' productivity. And just to be clear, you're not eliminating lawyers' judgment. You're providing lawyers with all the support infrastructure so the lawyer can practice law better than they could before Manifest.
So it doesn't impact something. I keep thinking about, graduates coming out and who are pre-law, or I'm thinking about paralegals. It doesn't get rid of that. Or does it?
We always keep a human in the loop because reality is attorneys have to have the final say over any document produced by AI. We've all seen those court records where AI hallucinates and then an attorney files a case and then the judge just slams them, right? That's not the case. You always need a human in the loop because even if it's 99% accurate, that 1%, that's an unacceptable level of risk.
So have you actually put this to work? Give us an idea of real use cases. Sure. And because again, I'm thinking about all the conversation we just had about AI and the return on investment. Tell us about that.
So we launched, we incubated the first ManifestOS powered law firm 18 months ago, starting with just legal immigration, visas and green cards for people that are pursuing a legal journey inside America. And in the first 18 months, we have 100 ManifestOS powered lawyers operating in this AI native environment. They have serviced over 3,000 clients, and they have a 15% higher approval rate than the national average by using technology. So it drives And 3 times faster response
higher
time.
approval in terms of citizenship for their, or whatever the
whatever the benefit they're
yeah.
applying for, and 3 times faster response time. Because one of the biggest complaints about lawyers is you email them and you never hear back. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, but that's a very common complaint.
I always get the bill though.
What's that?
I always get the bill
On time.
Yeah. So I just want to end talking a little bit about the environment of raising money right now.
Sure.
Kleiner, Perkins, Menlo Ventures, first round capital, quiet capital. I mean, some big Sandhill Road names. What was it like to raise money right now for an AI startup?
I think there is a lot of excitement about 2 types of businesses right now. The foundational models themselves, and then the AI native services businesses, which is a completely new category that never existed before. And we fall in that AI native services business category. People are just like excited about solving this specific problem, and they see a huge market. It's a $1 trillion market globally of legal services, and huge levels of inefficiency. So the opportunity is real.